Way out in southeast Turkey, there's this collection of ancient stones that's become a full-blown modern-day battleground. It's a place called Göbekli Tepe, and it is completely rewriting what we thought we knew about human history. But the real fight, it's not happening in the dirt with shovels. It's happening online, in a war of words between mainstream science and alternative history. And today, we're diving right into that firestorm, using one single explosive online debate as our map.
And our story, well, it kicks off where a lot of stories do these days, on Reddit. A user by the name of Adept, Donut4229, posts in the r/alternative history subreddit. And the title is simple, but it is incredibly bold. Göbekli Tepe, finally a new paper that changes everything. And they're not just sharing a thought. They're claiming that after a decade of work, they figured it all out. And we're not just talking a bold claim here. This is absolute. The author is convinced their paper will completely upend everything we know, just like the discovery of the site itself did. They say they've decoded a root religion that connects all of us, and that this place is so important to humanity that the UN should literally move its headquarters there. So what happens next? Well, the reaction is immediate. And it is brutal. You'd think there might be some excitement, right? Nope. The top comment is just a simple, devastating observation. The original poster is getting absolutely slaughtered. The critiques just pour in, questioning everything from their methods to the fact they posted the paper as a video. But then, just as fast as the criticism comes in, the battle lines get drawn. And you see, for every person tearing it down, someone else pops up to defend it. They see the author's work not as flawed, but as proper research, a real novel insights, and exactly what alternative history is supposed to be about. The whole thread just instantly mirrors this much, much bigger debate.
So it all makes you wonder, right? What is this place? Why do these ancient stones get people so fired up, both for and against? To really understand the fight, we have to understand the battlefield itself.
Okay, let's hit pause on the Reddit drama for a second and just look at the facts. Because to mainstream archaeology, Göbekli Tepe is one of the most important discoveries, maybe ever. It forces us to rethink the very origins of civilization. And who better to tell us than the man who basically discovered it for the modern world, the late German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt. When he saw the tops of these massive pillars just sticking out of a dusty hill back in 1994, he knew right then and there that he was looking at something that would change history. Okay, to really get this, you have to wrap your head around the timeline. And honestly, it is just staggering. People started building at Göbekli Tepe around 11,500 years ago. That makes it more than 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. Thousands! And 7,000 years older than the Great Pyramid. This isn't just old, it literally rewrites the books on when complex society began. But here's the real kicker, the thing that blew everyone's mind. Who built it? Not farmers living in settled villages, which was always the theory. No, this was built by nomadic hunter-gatherers. The old idea was you needed agriculture first, then you could build big things. Göbekli Tepe just flips that whole idea on its head. And it's not alone. It's part of this huge complex of sites, like its sister site, Karahan Tepe, that are just now being uncovered.
So how much of this incredible place have we actually seen? Get this, according to Klaus Schmidt himself, after all these years of work, we've only excavated about 5% of this massive site. Scans show there are dozens more of these giant stone circles still buried. That means 95% of it, still a total mystery, just waiting under the dirt. And you know what happens when there's a big mystery like that, right? It creates this vacuum. And into that space rush two totally different ways of looking at our past. This is the real conflict, the ideological divide that has Göbekli Tepe right at the center.
So on one side of the ring, you've got mainstream archaeology. Think slow, methodical, careful. It's all about the peer review process, basing everything on evidence, and being super cautious with your interpretations. And then on the other side, you've got what's often called alternative history. And their whole deal is to challenge that system, to look for hidden meanings, and to propose these grand, sweeping theories, often about a lost advanced civilization. Now, as you can imagine, the academics have a word for this. They call it pseudo-archaeology. They'd argue that this approach often picks the evidence to fit a cool story, not the other way around. But if you ask a proponent like Graham Hancock, they'll tell you they're not doing pseudoscience. They're fighting against academic dogmatism, trying to break open a field they see as too rigid and closed-minded. Okay, so now that we've got the lay of the land, let's jump back into that Reddit thread. Because this is where you see this huge ideological fight play out in real time, comment by comment. This is where the rubber really hits the road.
One of the first things people jump on has nothing to do with ancient mysteries. It's the style. As one user points out, a serious academic paper probably shouldn't have the phrase, "well, come on," in it. For anyone used to that world, that kind of informal language is an immediate red flag. And from there, the critiques get way more specific. You've got people with academic backgrounds pointing out these huge methodological flaws, comparing cultures that are thousands of years apart, making these giant claims with zero citations to back them up, and writing in a way that's more emotional than professional. Basically, they're saying it just doesn't pass the sniff test for real scholarly work. But then you scroll down, and the author's supporters, they see the complete opposite. To them, this isn't sloppy, it's proper research. That exhaustive analysis is exactly what they've been looking for. That informal style isn't a bug, it's a feature. It makes it exciting and accessible, not unprofessional. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the whole debate. It all comes down to peer review. One commenter sees it as a vital, stringent process that filters out bad ideas. But another one dismisses it as just, a matter of peers' opinion. So which is it? Is it a crucial quality control system? Or is it just a club for academics to keep new ideas out? That's the disconnect. So when you zoom out from the comment section, you realize this isn't really about one Reddit post, is it? It's about something way, way bigger. It's about how we know what we know. It's about who gets to tell the story of our own past. I mean, think about it. Why do a bunch of old stones get people so fired up? Why the anger, but also the fierce loyalty? Maybe it's because a place like Göbekli Tepe touches on the biggest questions there are. Who are we? Where do we come from? How did this all begin? The answers to those questions define us, so of course people are going to fight for their version of the story. And the beautiful irony here is that Klaus Schmidt himself, the guy who started this whole thing, he would have been the first to tell you that we have barely scratched the surface. He knew the story of Göbekli Tepe was nowhere near finished. He knew the biggest secrets were almost certainly still waiting under his feet. And this isn't just history. I mean, the story is changing right now. Just recently, over at that sister site, Karahan Tepe, they dug up this just incredible 2.3-meter statue. It's a man holding his phallus, a raw, stunning piece of art from the very dawn of our story. Our understanding isn't set in stone. It's being carved out with every new find. So that leaves us with one last big question. The person on Reddit believed their paper would change everything. But the truth is, the ground itself is what's going to do that. With 95% of this monumental complex still buried, the next real game-changing discovery isn't a question of if, it's a question of when.